lead. Something that Damwon used to be so good at, which was perpetually adding advantage after advantage, has not been happening. And I'm not attributing that to Damwon Kia not looking like they used to be. This is Mad cutting losses really beautifully around the map.
On the upside for Damwon Kia, I think that Kazi, now that look is actually decently far away, so the continuous pressure on bot side from Damwon Kia and Ghost and Barrel, even though Barrel, you know, at that one death and at that engage, it didn't look very good, has still been able to like put Kazi on the back foot to the point where I think it's really going to be 10, 15 more minutes, unless he finds a couple of kills, for him to really come up big. And with how dominant that bot lane has been looking for Mad, I think that not being online might actually be a little bit of a problem. Of course, Humanoid with the Ludens and the Banshees will still have a lot of damage, but I think Damwon Kia have already shown that these are not going to be straight-up team fights. It's going to be very pulled-apart skirmishes. They try and deny you any opportunity to actually fight you in a choke, because once the space is there, Damwon Kia can actually blow up targets in seconds.
You can say Oyoya actually denied his wolf camp. I believe the Gromp has been taken by Khan almost every single spawn for the last 3, or something like that. Certainly being able to add a fair bit of pressure, but these are not exactly the big leads that you're looking for. As here on our Verizon 5G all chat, you can send us all of your tweets if you would like to, and we can read them out on the broadcast here as well. And possibly you could let me know how you're feeling about this particular game, because Damwon Kia, they're winning, but it's not feeling like they're winning enough just yet. And Mad still waiting for that opportunity to make this composition come online. Slowly but surely, Kazi's getting levels. Slowly but surely, Amit's getting tankier and tankier to be that full-on frontline that Damwon Kia don't really have. Oh, okay, we're looking for it. Humanoid gonna get taken down to about half as gravity field's pretty good, and eventually the flash has to be invested a lot though.
That is true.
Because kick flash is very important, and if you're going to go in, like, you need to get the rocket jump, you need to get the flash, you need to get a lot of things on that checklist to try and kill the Tristana, and now it's on Beryl to try and do.
I would like more time to think about it, but I don't think you're giving me any, and I don't think this game is giving me any. This is a pivotal breakpoint. You need to get this Drake as Damwon Kia is Mad. If you can win the fight here, it might just be what gets you definitely ahead in this game.
Well, Amit's going to teleport in to make sure that the 5 is set up immediately. Stand United, of course, available, not available, as of course it was used on top of Humanoid earlier. That's something that I actually missed, as I did think that Humanoid's shield from his Q was a little bit larger than it should have been, so I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be a trade of the Drake for the outer turret in mid lane. As, oh my goodness, that bubble was so close. The Kazi's going to be able to move out of the way of it. The Dark Binding not quite long enough either, as Damwon Kia, you can see they're looking for it, looking for an opportunity. Not able to quite find it here, as Mad are just keeping themselves together. Now, it is going to be Damwon Kia able to push up towards this inner turret. Vision going on over, Q going to miss there from Khan. As the rest of Mad now wrapping on around. Not a lot of vision here for Damwon Kia, as finally that control ward going to be taken down. Amit not able to find the taunt onto Beryl. He's going to walk his way out of this one, and once again it's a tightrope. Oh my goodness.
It's an LCK style back and forth, that's for sure, if you look at the kill score here. It's low, it's high action, high stakes, but low actual kills. And that's because both these teams know that for Mad, one misstep is the end of the game, and that's why they don't go for that Ocean there, right? You know you have the time, it's just soul point, just try and get to those next item benchmarks. Whereas on the side of Damwon Kia, they also know we can't hard force. If we hard force and we blow the fight here, our lead is gone, and then this game's become exponentially more difficult.
Well, Canyon looking for a binding, finds it pretty comfortably there. Is okay, Khan says goodbye to Kazi, and that might be the pick that's going to start things for Damwon Kia. However, just one may not necessarily be enough. They are still heading over towards this Baron, and my goodness, the jungle is so dark for the Mad Lions.
And I think they can just do it. Ghost, at this point, Kaiser goes through these objectives so fast.
Oh my, it just popped. Absolutely nothing that they could do. Elyoya walked on over. I don't even think he really understood what was happening. And then all of a sudden, Baron yells, and Damwon Kia managed to get a big old buff. So have a look at that Red Bull Baron power play to see how much further ahead Damwon Kia can get, because it's not all over yet. However, that one pick and that transition into a Baron might just be the beginning of nails into this coffin.
This is one of the most LCK stuff. This is old school LCK, right? Where people are complaining, there's not enough kills, there's not enough action, where are my explosions? But this is both teams recognizing how little space they really get. Now with this Baron, Damwon is going to be able to actually get the shove, and that's going to provide so much more opportunities for Showmaker to get damage done, for them to move up with relative safety, although they need to be a little bit careful. Kaiser is maybe looking for an engage here. Ahmed has the Stand United available.
Yeah, they were trying to make sure that Kazi looked as tasty as possible at that instance, as we saw. Damwon not going to take the bait though, as Ahmed does get that wave shoved in, like you were talking about, towards the bottom side of the map. Khan doing the same thing on top side. And this is the siege. Should be that they'll be able to grab that top inner at the same time. That's going to be the first couple of turrets to add to that power play. As Mad setting up a little bit of a gank brush. Beryl gets the Warden over and the jig is up. Mad Lions positioning absolutely known. The red buff is going to be secured by Showmaker. For some reason, I believe he smoked that with a smite that he picked up on the ground earlier. May as well give it to you, Zoe.
Yeah,
I imagine Kaiser probably would have really liked it, but that's fine.
That's a lot of sparkles, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you necessarily need it?
With how Showmaker's been playing this tournament, give him all of the buffs. Give him absolutely everything. They are going to do exactly that, as he now has Baron, Blue, and Red encircling him. And once we kill his Ocean Drake, there's a possibility that they could get towards an Elder if they would like. That being said, if we're talking about Elder timings and things like that, I feel like Mad are in a pretty good spot, because this comp might have come online just enough. Beryl in the area, but Khan absolutely not. You can see Showmaker still making his way around as well, and man, we are still walking this tightrope. It's still feeling so close, despite the fact that a Baron was got for nothing, or just for a kill onto Kazi.
And I think the key
doesn't feel like enough.
The key thing here is that with the automatic prio that you get from Baron, it's making it so much harder for Mad Lions to actually contest this Drake, and they can't give this one up. On the other hand, Damwon, they might just say, sure, go for the Ocean Drake, we don't care.
It's also 40 seconds away, and they've got a minion wave and 2 siege minions heading towards this inhibitor turret. And yeah, Mad, you can see they're backing. They've realized the misstep that they made is Damwon will just take this one for free, and that's going to mean that another wave... Oh, okay, no, the inhibitor is going to stay alive for now. Dark Binding was pivotal there. Onto the Udyr to stop him from being able to get on forward, as now he's going to take a snooze, which is suboptimal. Down to half health here as another Dark Binding's going to land. The disengage here from Damwon has been great. Black Shield also brilliant as Kaiser now caught with his pants down. He's going to be taken out of this one. Second kill onto Kazi as well, and now the doom is setting in for the Mad Lions as in goes Ghost to execute Humanoid, and in the blink of an eye, I think this game's over.
It might just well be that the wave is coming, Canyon is picking it up, and no one is alive that can actually wave clear. And this is the most Damwon game I've seen them play this entire tournament. It feels on a knife's edge. They win one fight, and your base is gone.
Yeah. No, the game was so incredibly slow. Incremental advantages looked for the entire game long. Damwon could barely even find them a lot of the time, but in the end, they get the keys to the kingdom and they will break down the Mad Lions Nexus. Second place, going over to Damwon, scoreline equal with that of RNG after the PSG upset. This Rumble stage is very, very interesting, but man, Mad Lions, you understood their game plan. They were so patient, but in the end, it was found by Damwon, and it shows that they've still got it, Chronicler. And I think that a lot of people are correct in saying that Damwon are not the team that we were expecting coming here to MSI, but they take a well-deserved bow here. Only dropping one game to RNG, I think, is something that they can be very happy with, based on how RNG looked, especially considering the fact that RNG did the same thing. They dropped a game as well.
And on the other hand, for Mad Lions, this is a game that you look at, and I still think they played to their win conditions really well. With the draft that they went for, they kind of opted into, okay, we're gonna let Damwon do their thing. I don't think you can really, especially with that draft, expect this Damwon to show up. Because like I said, we haven't seen this the entire tournament.
Yeah.
Right? There was one little oopsie from Beryl, but outside of that, very clean, very controlled from start to end.
And it also was probably one of the best set games that we've seen so far this tournament. And Beryl was one of the people that was telling us, maybe we shouldn't be picking Set. And it worked out very, very well. But after the break, we'll tell you all about the Dom 1 Kia win and hear from Beryl. So be sure to stick around.
And welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Although this time we're not at the desk, we're sitting down on our floating island that moves around the set. And Dom 1 Kia, they came out victorious against Mad Lions. They are now tied with RNG in first place. That means Mad Lions and PSG Talent are now tied in third place. And frankly, I'm disappointed in the Mad Lions. This team can and should have played better.
It was a very slow game, wasn't it? We didn't see too much action. It was more around team fights. And I think that if you look at the composition holistically, you have the same thing that we were talking about in Countdown, which was basically the fact that Damwon's playing this aggressive, winning lane style, winning jungle matchup in a sense, and then playing to your individual solo laners to get them ahead, which gets you natural advantages. Whereas Mad Lions have drafted this full team fight comp with the Shen to defend the plays on bot side, and the Tristana has the reliability as the carry to go in. But Carzzy kind of fell behind in lane. The lane phase wasn't very good for Mad Lions in the early game.
All right, we cannot hear Raz right now. I will wait to find out. So give me a brief pause there, Raz, until we can work through the audio issues. And I mean, let's just expand on that early game just a little bit. Well, Alyoya was able to find an early impact on that Udyr, but then after that, it fell apart and it felt like repeated ganks and teleports from Damwon just was able to punish Mad more.
Yeah, I think the reason that the game slowed down to me was because of the Shen ultimate. I think maybe Damwon hasn't played against the Shen just yet, and they were afraid to just overextend for these bot plays, but their bot lane was at a natural advantage because they were winning out on the 2v2. And then from there, if they just played around the Shen ult and respected it, they didn't really overcommit into fights. And then when it came to team fights, it felt like Mad Lions were having to use spells before the fight started.
I mean, we've got a replay of this. Bring this one up now while we're working on getting Raz back. But it's going to be this dragon fight. And honestly, when I saw this dragon fight, Cadril, I threw my hands in the air and I went, it's done. Damwon are going to win.
Yeah, Beryl kind of went too deep, so I thought the fight was in a good state for them. But you can see the amount of poke coming out from Damwon with the Zoe. If Lee Sin hits a Q, he can just instantly go in. Ghost makes a mistake, I have to admit, but Showmaker's kind of zoning away the bot lane of Mad Lions. And from there, it's just a 4v3 on the opposite side towards the blue buff entrance. Khan makes the first kill onto Armut, and then they can just start to walk forwards. And from there, they get the Ocean Dragons, and then Mad Lions eventually are forced to fight the Ocean Soul, where they eventually lost the game.
Well, Raz, I think we've got you back. How do you feel about the game?
Yep. I mean, like, for me, it's I think, you know, I already mentioned it. It was definitely very difficult for Carzzy in that specific fight to, like, be able to link back with his team when he was already isolated. Armut actually had to put himself in a position to bridge him back in so he comes in the safe way. And even then, it's just Morgana, Zoe, like I was saying before, you know, before the mute came through, and Lee Sin. It's just a very safe composition. It's very difficult to get an engage point off of with, like, the Nautilus. So that is what I was looking at with this game.
Yeah, and just look at the amount of outplay potential that comp of Damwon has, right? With Zoe, with Lee Sin, with Morgana, and things like
that. As well.
With the Kai'Sa set, you have so much outplay potential, individual skirmishing potential in the early to mid game, whereas Mad Lions don't really have much to work with, barring just a Shen ultimate to play defensively and Carzzy on the Tristana, who already fell behind.
It's also predictable, isn't it? You also know the play pattern. Like, whenever you see a Shen in the game, you know where that Stand United is going to get used. So it gives you a lot of information, adds Damwon to play around.
And that's the definition of an outplay champion, right? Things like Akali, Lee Sin, they're hard to read because they have many different variables that they can choose. But one-dimensional champions like Shen, obviously, it's very easy to read what they're going to do and outplay it in a sense. And I think that's what kind of the Eastern teams are drafting towards, Damwon and RNG, these outplay potential champions. Lucian, Sylas, Zoe, and then things in the top lane like the Lee Sin and Lucian as well. So that's just an interesting meta shift that I've seen.
I also think I'm getting a little bit more scared of Beryl's set. I've seen some mixed performances, obviously, right, from the group stage, but he is a pretty high impact champion. We're not seeing too many people playing it out, and I think we're actually talking about that during Countdown as well. Let's move on to the Drive to Victory presented by Mercedes-Benz. It is the final fight for Dom 1 Kia, and honestly, Dom 1 just built up such a massive advantage. They got themselves several dragons. Raz, I'm going to throw this one to you, because they've already got the Baron, it looks like, in the pushing bottom lane.
But the setup for this was incredible to begin with, and they were fighting into their own vision. Just think of this. Morgana shield instantly on the pick because he sees that Kai'Sa was going for it, and so that was just well done from Canyon. Really difficult fight because, as I said earlier, the setup was Mad Lions got caught trying to push through mid when they already had, Damwon had a pushing lave in the bot side of the map, and they had vision completely of the blue side jungle. And so it felt like Mad Lions were really desperate in that situation to get something going.
Very quick before I bring up the standings, or as the standings come up, closing thoughts.
Just fantastic play from Damwon. They read the Ocean Soul play, they negated Mad Lions mid push, went to another lane, and then baited them into a fight.
And of course, because of that win, it now means Damwon Kia are tied at 4 wins, 1 loss, with Royal Never Give Up in first. Mad Lions and Talon tied at 3 and 2. The first round robin is completed. There are 15 games remaining. And obviously, if you are a Cloud9 fan, the fact that Talon have picked up that win above them is scary, but they are 2 wins behind the pack. If they are able to pick up a win against Damwon Kia at the end of the day, well, then all of a sudden, this entire bracket is just popped wide open.
Yeah, Mad Lions could be in danger as well. They have to be careful not to fall into this pit with
Okay.
Cloud9 PSG.
I do believe we have an interview ready. It is Dash standing by with Beryl.
Thank you very much. Quick shot. I'm here with Beryl after a victory over Mad Lions to push the team to 4-1 when it comes to the first round robin of the Rumble stage. So congratulations on that, Beryl. But I do want to know that as Damwon Kia came in as one of the favorites at the tournament, how you evaluate the team's performance so far.
네, 우선은 럼블 스테이지 4승 1패로 1라운드 마무리하셨는데요. 사실 담원 기아가 토너먼트 이전부터 강력한 우승 후보라고 평가를 받아왔잖아요. 이를 고려해 봤을 때 지금까지 담원 기아의 경기력을 어떻게 평가하시나요?
확실히 저희가 결승전 때랑 이제 패치가 좀 바뀌면서 좀 인참에 좀 찾아가는 그런 게 많았어가지고 아직은 좀 더 그런 단계인 것 같고 제가 이제 이번 MSI 때 좀 개인적인 실수가 너무 많아가지고 이것만 좀 더 고치고 팀적인 움직임만 좀 해주면 그래도 좀 우승은 확정 아니고 그래도 우승에 이제 한 걸음 다가가는 이제 그런 게 되지 않을까 싶어요.
So I'm pretty sure that after the LCK finals, there were a lot of changes due to new patch. So we took some time to figure out what is like good or bad. And I think we are still in the middle of that process. And in addition to that, I think I personally made some mistakes in game as well. So if I can focus up and also make a good team play, I think I'm not saying that we will take the trophy, but I want to say that will be a huge kind of step forward close to the finals and also title.
I want to talk about some of your main competition in RNG. It is the only team that you've lost a game to here in the Rumble stage, but you'll have another opportunity to play them a little bit later on in the coming days. What do you evaluate, or what do you think is the thing that needs to change most for Damwon to be able to take down RNG next time around?
그러면 이제 RNG 전에 대해서 좀 여쭤보고 싶은데요. 지금 럼블 스테이지에서 유일하게 패배를 기록한 경기였고 이제 또 좀 있으면 조금 리매치의 기회가 있잖아요. 이제 RNG 전에 다시 갈 때 어떤 점을 조금 보완하고 담원 기아가 어떤 점을 좀 고쳐야 좀 승리를 가져올 수 있을까요?
이제 RNG가 이제 LPL 리그에서도 그렇고 결승에서도 그렇고 보통 이제 라인전으로 이렇게 굴리다기보다는 이제 팀 합으로 이제 굴려서 이제 중후반 운영 한타 이런 걸로 이기는 팀인데 이제 저희도 그 1라운드 때 졌을 때는 이제 라인전이 밀린 게 아니고 이제 중후반 후반 운영 갔을 때 실수가 좀 잦아가서 진 걸로 알고 있어가지고 아마 그런 걸 좀 보완하고 고쳐서 하면 이제 다시 만났을 때 좀 할만하지 않을까 싶어요.
So based on what I saw from them in the LPL and also the finals, Orange is not a team that win based off of the lane priority. They're not like win lane, win game kind of a team. They're more like a team that comes back with their teamwork in the mid to late game, kind of macro play. So I think in that game where we lost, I think we made a lot of mistakes in the mid to the late game. We were really bad at macro plays and map plays. So I think if we can clean up those issues around our late game kind of macro mistakes, I think we will be able to possibly get the win.
We're definitely looking forward to that rematch. Now I want to talk about you a little bit personally in the context of the entire tournament. Today at the beginning of the show, our analyst desk was talking about which position was the most stacked in the tournament, and they began talking about the support position, you being one of those players. I'm curious what you think of the competition that you have ahead of you here in the tournament and where you think you stack up in the ranking.
네, 이제 조금 베릴 선수에 대한 질문을 드리고 싶은데요. 오늘 경기 시작 전에 분석 데스크에서 이제 MSI에서 가장 조금 실력이 좋은 선수들이 빽빽하게 모여 있는 포지션이 어디인가에 대한 이야기가 나왔을 때 이제 베릴 선수가 있는 서포터 얘기가 거론이 많이 되었고 베릴 선수도 거론이 되었습니다. 그래서 베릴 선수는 지금 대회 서포터 경쟁력에 있어서 어느 정도 있다고 생각하시는지 본인이 그럼 그 서포터들 중에 어느 정도에 위치했다고 생각하시나요?
이제 보통 이런 경우가 별로 없거든요. 보통 이제 서포터가 좀 이제 그 대회에서 이제 좀 빡빡하다는 이런 게 전 아마 처음인 것 같은데 저는 아직 좀 제가 생각했을 때 많이 부족하다고 생각하고 그런 걸 좀 고치고 이제 보완하는 단계라고 생각해서 저는 제 스스로 순위를 매기면 아마 좀 아래 있지 않을까 싶어요.
So I think this is the first time that I've ever seen actually support role kind of labeled as a stacked role in a tournament. So it's really impressive. But for me right now, I think I've been performing not really well, and I think I've made some mistakes. So I think I'm in the middle of the process of improving myself. So I would like to say I'm in the bottom of the support role.
Oh my goodness. I think many people might beg to differ, but I look forward then to seeing you in top form. Beryl, congratulations on the victory here today. Thank you for taking the time. From here, we're going to throw to a quick break. When we come back, it's Pentanet GG versus RNG.
Hello and welcome back to MSI 2021. RNG are indeed mortal. For the first time at MSI, they dropped a game, but it's time to bounce back up against Pentanet GG. 0-5 the scoreline right now for the Australia-New Zealand squad.
And look at what we're dropping into right here, Freak. The jungle triumvirate has been broken up with Udyr and Morgana on the ban list, so Rumble, the only one left up, instantly picked here by RNG. One of the big things we've been talking about is that so many of these Rumble picks have been influenced by these tier lists, and they've dropped off some of the importance of the CC to keep people on the damage.
Yeah.
Varus is a super high priority AD carry that actually goes to second phase here. Is a little bit nuts to see, but they are getting that crowd control instantly after the Rumble pick. This is what I really feel like is going to be the difference maker and really making it shine. Varus CC, Nautilus CC as well. So much setup. Really good team fighting here already from RNG.
Yes, and one thing I want to tunnel in on as well is the mid-jungle duo. There's the interview that I believe Chaz gave where he's like, Pabu told me it's AP jungle, AD mid every time. It's why he played Zed, why he played Kiana. And if you look at Cryan's champion pool so far this year, there's the one Nocturne game at MSI, there's one Lucian game from earlier on, but he does not play a ton of AD mids, save for Renekton, 7 games on the season. I'm curious if Renekton mid comes out, or if he has another AD mid in mind. Otherwise, Merc Treads are very efficient, and that can always be a concern.
Definitely true. Meanwhile, on the side of PGG, never want to overlook the Jace pick here. It is flexible. Chaz can play it in mid lane as well, but expecting it to go into the hands of BioPanther. And this is already a poke composition. So when you're facing poke, your instant reaction is always looking for that, hard CC, hard engage from the other team. We already mentioned the Nautilus and Varus, so that's going to be something PGG now have to draft against. Try and get your disengage to keep them safe. Black Shield being banned out very early on there from the side of RNG with Morgana definitely goes a long way in taking away some of those options.
Yes, indeed. You're seeing Sylas. Yep, okay. Kai'Sa will be left up as a bot lane option. Tristana, high priority, still up here as well. And yeah, I am very curious what Cryan will play this game. Lucian, Pantheon, if you look at his champion pool he's played this year, Pantheon is, I believe, the only attack damage mid left available. And that's, again, assuming they even really, really care. RNG themselves have played a few different AP mids, Orianna being chief among them, with Rumble in the jungle. It just, again, makes Merc Treads very efficient and is somewhat of a concern. We'll see what comes around, though. Hovering pick number 4 on the RNG side. What's going to lock in the rest of the comp?
Still could flex the Rumble,
yes.
Of course. So
Nocturne,
definitely can move it around. Nocturne, that you mentioned very early on, is going to be the choice, and top lane Gragas should be insta-lock there as well for Xiao, who definitely no stranger there, and can sustain pretty well versus the Jace, so I kind of like that matchup there. Nocturne ultimate as well really does bring together how you're trying to set up this Rumble. You turn off the lights, then your Varus and Nautilus are able to set him up for huge damage output. And since there's so much zoning here, Rumble ultimate plus these two layered bottom lane CCs, Nocturne really gets to make use of the full dive to get back to the heart of some of the poke there with the Nidalee, with the Jace. And so far, if they finish this up with a Chaz Akali pick, Nidalee does not have a lot of setup, does not have a lot of agency here in the early game, save for the bottom lane. That's why I've loved watching all of the bottom lanes at MSI.
Yes.
It's almost always these double melee engage supports. You know you can count on the bottom lane for action, Freak.
Yes, you can.
That's where I'm hoping we get some jungler action down there. Nidalee should be able to have a lot more options as far as the early ganks. Heading down there can be very creative with invading Rumble as well. Off of some pushing lanes there. Jace on top side should be an option for Nidalee to try and work with. Yes, you can't go for the dives that you normally see when she's paired with something like a Renekton because the CC isn't quite there. But if the poke ends up landing without that setup, you can play a lot off that pressure. And then that pressure on lanes bleeds into the jungle. And we've seen a lot of success trying to pressure these Rumble jungles early on with more aggressive styles.
Absolutely. Going to be looking for this one as well. It's going to be fun watching the Akali run around. Keep in mind, Varus is the second most highly prized bot laner at this tournament so far, right behind Kai'Sa, next in line, 80% presence, but does not have safety tools. So often we saw Varus locked in alongside a Tahm Kench, but hey, there's an Akali running around, and you're up against Tristana in lane. Leona Triss can obviously force the all-ins there as well. Nautilus, not the best bodyguard in that regard, so I'm curious how well Praedith and Decoy can try to prey upon that lane, if Chaz can do the same thing here, but otherwise, what can Cryan get done on the Nocturne? We are on to the Rift. The nerfed Gragas in the top lane here for Xiaohu, and here we go.
And honestly, too, when we're looking at the bottom lane, I think it's critical that Gala is taking the cleanse. As you mentioned, Varus has no other way of escaping an all-in from Leona Tristana. That would be basically death there. Ming is a very, 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 very good support, though. Most people rank him as #1 right now, actually, in the entire world. And his job here with the Varus lane is when the Leona Tristana goes for the all-in, Gala can cleanse immediately and gain some space just by walking, hopefully before the Tristana is able to rocket jump in. But Ming goes straight for the Tristana. You don't try and peel the Leona. You go immediately for the Tristana. Try and hook him out of the rocket jump. Try and get your auto there, and then you can turn around some of that pressure.
All right, late invade, though. PGG have the vision. RNG can only guess at what the plans are. You should know Xiaohu went down towards blue. They can surmise Rumble went that way as well. And is it going to be much of a late invade? They're going for it there. Who's going to win? As they're going to start, cooldowns are gone, and here we go.
Poke.
Bit of poke damage, nice sides of the Javelin, but not on the Jace damage. Xiaohu at half HP, eats the casket again, and now, how about the Smite fight? Keep in mind, Nidalee did start Q, so in Cougar form, the takedown can be a big chunk of damage, and it should allow Pabu to win the Smite fight, but the blue resets the first time.
Critical here is that mid lane push will always go to a Nocturne. Level 1 Akali cannot do anything. Level 1 Akali has no control there. Meanwhile, Nocturne, with just the auto passive with Q, annihilates minion wave. So Cryan establishing full control over mid lane immediately means that if you stick around and you want to make use of the pressure of Nidalee Jace we talked about in Champ Select, eventually Cryan is going to have the push on mid lane. He'll collapse. It'll be numbers disadvantage. So PGG, they actually have to call off this delayed invade up there after they're able to not able to find anything quickly.
Couple autos back and forth. Praedith, though, heavily losing that trade. Of course, level 2 first for RNG means they are far more powerful. Decoy takes the anchor, and that turret shot equalizes a lot of the punishment that had come through earlier. Almost nullifies the entire level 2 power spike that had happened earlier. Chaz and Cryan still battling back and forth right now. Meaningful farm lead for Cryan. I think a lot of that can get answered, but so far, not so great for the Akali. Again, we'll wait for the team fights, though, for that really turns on.
Yeah, this matchup for Akali is you're basically a little tadpole until you're level 6. Then you can evolve into a frog, at least, with the ultimate to be able to look for level 6 kills on weaker members. However, she really benefits when you get to max out your 5-point strike. And the scaling of Akali is what really was buffed and really brought her back into pro play.
Cryan is on the way over. But I guess Jace on the way down as well. Should make Pabu fairly safe. He does have 2 camps he can steal away. The Nocturne's around. Xiaohu's nearby. This can get dangerous fast. Pabu smites for health, and it's time for the all-in 3v2 topside, though. Bye there was a flash away. Cryan dangerously low. Flash follow for the Akali. Chaz, can they get first blood? Yes, they will. And now it's time for the chase down. Xiaohu still has flash. Can easily get away with body slam. However, the rest of the squad has come back around. So, hey, with Wei sticking in there, looks like he's going to get this Scuttle Crab after all.
The tadpole strikes first, freak! Level 4 Akali getting a kill is actually insane here. PGG, they've got the numbers advantage. Yes, Pabu was low heading up towards the Scuttle Crab, but look at the mini-map. Your jungle is on bottom Scuttle Crab here, so RNG fighting the 2v3. And yes, it is just a tadpole, but even that is going to make the difference here. Chaz gets the first blood money. I love this for PGG because the first matchup for them and RNG was actually one of the most exciting ones that we have had here, in the first couple of stages at MSI. And now with Chaz, this player from Osh that has had so much style, so much aggression from the mid lane, so much variety in the picks, he really is set up to play off the strengths of Akali. Yes, still down tremendously in CS from the early wave push advantage that we talked about for Nocturne due to the matchup, but getting that kill really goes a long way in setting him up. Now we're definitely going to be looking at that level 6 opportunity for the execution.
And that was your new Axe Effect replay, and the first blood on Chaz can set him up, as we heard Kobe talking about. Can this Akali now take over the game? There are no defensive tools. Cleanse does not affect Akali in any way in this game from Gala, so will he stay safe? He's got a small farm lead down there, but what about the team fights? We've seen the assassination happen before. Right now, though, RNG, by the way, despite the first blood, they are up in gold. You've got a, 4 camp lead for Wei. You've got 12 CS in mid, 5 CS in bot. That is a lot of cash money, and this can certainly be a problem for Penson at GG. We'll see, though. Chaz still cutting off to the side. Soon to be level 6, by the way. You can see both those XP bars very, very close to full. Chaz trying to get enough damage down that he can maybe force the all-in at 6. Okay, there it is on Nocturne. Spell shield on and just takes him down. A turret shot lets him live. Pabu, can you find the damage? No! He finds only death. Wei turns it around. RNG just like that. Looking now at the re-engage on the bottom side, though. Praedith praying for his life. Will find death. No. And now it's time for Decoy to fall as well. He tried to pull the aggro true to his name, but he's going to drop all the same. Oh my word. 4 quick kills back to back to back to back.
All right, there goes all the hype we were trying to build for the possible upset here for PGG. RNG, they tasted defeat earlier for the first time of the tournament, and they didn't like it, Freak. So instantly, Cryan, he pushes out the wave, gets the level 6, and since the lights are still turned off, there's no vision here. Pabu is nearsighted, doesn't know that Wei is right behind Nocturne, flashes in for another kill, and then the bottom lane, they don't want to be left out of the fun. It's a party here. Ming immediately landing both the hook and then the flash auto as well to finish off the kill onto Tristana. It means that Leona gets picked up afterwards, and it is just a landslide here in the favor of RNG. PGG off the reset, though, of all those kills for RNG will at least pick up a dragon.
They get something, but they do not have pressure almost anywhere. Even the Jace lane isn't even up CS. That's obviously a bit of a problem there. Wei waiting for him to come back to lane. Xiaohu a bit low on mana. That's going to be a fairly difficult all-in. Will note, by the way, AP Gragas, the build top side, going at least towards what I'm guessing to be Everfrost up there, but we'll see if it's Night Harvester. Actually, it can't be Night Harvester. He's got mana on it. So likely Everfrost. And here's Biopanther. He's going to be pounced upon. Sorry, buddy, you're not in the jungle. Down he goes. Wei is. And there's going to be a plate top lane to go after that kill.
And Wei didn't even have to use his ultimate for that play. So this Rumble is still extremely threatening. Can head down through the jungle, get some counter jungling off, and again, threaten this Akali in mid lane as the Nocturne ultimate is going to be back up shortly here, and they can go for an all-in. You either pick in the jungle or bottom lane just gets another two kill.
Oh, it's the worst timed rocket jump. They're going to have some chase down as well. Decoy's on his way out. 6-1 in kills, already a 4,000 gold lead. Anchor gonna land, make it about 5K. Gala grabs the kill. He's on a spree already.
Oh, all right. It just gets worse and worse down there in the bottom lane. The decoy is not working. They keep going for the Tristana and killing the Tristana immediately. And then Leona gets picked up. This is it. The counter jungle into Nocturne ultimate. It's the worst feeling as a jungler.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Pava, who's smiling, he's laughing. He's like, all right, it's doomed. This is pretty screwed right now. Penanet very close to mathematically eliminated, by the way, from the playoffs. I don't think many people expected them to advance through the top 6, but you do want to keep in mind there's always the chance for the big upset chains, but looking in the barrel of 0-6 is very quickly approaching impossibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a team that even stated themselves. They're looking for experience and they're looking to have fun on the world stage with the best teams. This is the rocket jump timing you're talking about. We have actually seen it messed up several times here on the world stage with, the first place teams from all these regions.
Right.
And it's not Pentanet every time, right? We've had multiple top 80 carries. Basically, you can interrupt the Tristana after the animation has completed and you're in the actual travel block. Once she's flying through the air, it's like any other dash. You can interrupt it there. But we're right back out.
Oh my! Whoa, just from long range, the snipes come across. Goodbye. And yeah, all right. Well, get rid of the blast plant. Good job, decoy. Sorry, bud. Yeah, he's gonna run down. Goodbye. Double kill over to Gala. Well played. There's no dragon to take, but there's a Scuttle Pabu. You know you want it. Aw, he tried, but there was an empowered snipe coming through for Gala, who claimed it anyway.
Whew. Gala and Ming, neither of them miss here a single time. And the Tristana Leona lane that we've been hyping up for all this action and creation that you're able to. Never mind, we might have another all-in.
Explosive cast backwards. Way is on the way over. Crying no ulti. Bio Panther is gonna drop. This Rumble is everywhere. 4-0 and 0 just comes over, walks up, deals 300 damage, and just collects his money.
All right, put the children to sleep. Avert your eyes. It is going to get worse from here. This is a trouncing by RNG already. It was the one moment of glory, the first blood kill in the top river for PGG.
Yep.
And then from there on out, RNG just made it a bloodbath. Everybody getting their own kills all across the map. It is now 5 onto Gala on this Varus.
Yeah.
Bottom lane basically on cooldown with either CC hitting, Ming with hooks or ultimate or flash or Gala hitting his.
Yeah.
Has resulted in death.
I do like how thematic PGG have been, though, in this game. They picked, Drake's Hold On, We're Going Home as their song. They got a Drake, and then with all the deaths, they've constantly been going home. So it's really nice that they managed to keep to the theme song. Praedyth flashes over a wall into Rumble ulti, takes about 300 damage, and then Buster shots out of range, but that allows the Nautilus to walk up. Maybe he should have just kept walking. Down goes to the kill, number 4 for Praedyth.
Ooh, I like it. It's actually going to become a race between Wei and Gala for most kills in this game. Mid lane.
Chaz, feared, but able to walk out. The whole squad's here. Do you take a 3v4? I think you might as well try. Anchors away. Ming sets it up, and Wei knocks it down. Dominating now under the turret. A flash away for Pava. He's got a heal. It doesn't mean very much, though. And now they re-engage. Wei is going to stay alive. Bio Panther will not. The Cougar barely backwards as well. And for good measure, why don't we summon a Rift Herald?
Ming just keeps on pulling him in, Freak. Reel in another one. It's an extra kill here over to RNG. Rift Herald down. That's going to be all the turret plates. Maybe they can fish for one. Praedyth over the wall. Can they take it down?
They will take down Ming and Pentanet. Doubled their kills from the entire game.
All right, that's another shoey there for everybody in Australia. Big pickup here. They got to count their victories. Chaz now in a 1v1 with Gala. Both of them level 9.
All right, we talked it up. We talked it up. Akali versus Varus. Not going too well for Chaz. Crying. He wasn't needed. That was a solo kill for your AD carry. That's actually messed up, dude. That's not okay. Oh, well. Praedyth, yep, throws up the RNG flag. It's like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah, it's a really bad feeling when the enemy AD carry can stand and fight the assassin. As soon as you see the E miss, though, from Akali, part of the big buffs of the damage for Akali was damage loaded into the E, so misses a lot there. Here's another sad story for your boy Chaz, as Ming was able to hit another one of these dredge lines, and you already know all the aftermath here, so basically, we're just racking them up as many as we can get for RNG. Wei as well as Gala. I guess this is the main race. Who's going to be the most fed on the team? Ming has actually been setting up both of them. He's worked well, yes, for the lane phase with Gala, but look at this. He sets up Wei again. This is another kill he gives over to him.
Oh, and Ming gets the kill. Now Ming gets it. He's up to number 2. That's the well played. And Xiaohu doesn't get to have fun. He's sitting there in the top lane, 0-0 and 2. Cryan shows up, though. Nice snipe. Steals away the kill. Cryan drops aggro, and now when do they dive D turret cool down? It has done so. Turret first. All right, turret first. All right, he's going to walk out of the way. No, he's not. Okay, keep it in the turret then. Oh, the turret's gone. All right, re-engage. And here we go. Decoy down pretty low, but hey, Chaz is around. How scary is Akali? Not terribly, but Flash Q's gonna land. Got a bit of move speed. Auto attack's gonna come in. Next Q comes across. Uh-oh, Chaz does find the kill. Crine turns it around, and now Leona. Sorry, Decoy, you do not have the damage to kill a mid laner, and that's going to be a snipe. Wei is godlike.
Okie dokie here. Let's see how quick are they going to be able to end this one for RNG, though, because it's already over 11,500 gold lead at 14 minutes into the game. This is insane. Next Rift Herald gonna spawn. 3 minutes and 45 seconds left on the next dragon. And RNG, no reason to slow down at all. Just steamroll ahead, pick after pick after pick. You know, from Champ Select, we were saying, oh, maybe there would be some sort of disengage or something picked up here for PGG. They don't have any way to get out of, you know, any of these skirmishes. So as soon as they're in, they're all in. They're just trying to hunt down bounties at this point, though. They know they're so far behind. Just go for it. Everybody send it. They got one. That's gonna, exactly, cut the tapes right there. They got the kill.
Yep. Oh, Chaz, cut the tape, snipe. Oh, the flash to guarantee it. Want to make sure he couldn't dodge, and now Cryin, goodbye. They finally knocked him down another time.
Another
Only 4,
bounty.
2, and 5. Yes, it is. They're picking him up quickly, but is it going to be enough? Well, mid lane tier 2 is going to drop 4-0, going to be the turret score, and the gold lead is still over 10,000.
Pentanet Bounty Hunters here. That's the name of the game. Next two up are the two biggest and the two hardest to get. Wei and Gala, the two that have been ravaging this PGG team. Those ones are going to be big cash in. Right now, Wei on the Rift Herald number 2. This could be RNG's way ending the game before 20 minutes.
Dancing Herald.
Definitely could be a possibility. We've seen it tried before. Wei's going to pick it up here, and they have no reason to stop. Everybody now peaking level 11 as well. That is the rank 2 Rumble Ultimate coming for this siege.
Oh, he finds himself a body slam, the root with Everfrost. And by the way, Chaz, yeah, you can't stealth against Rumble. All of his damage that matters is a skill shot. That's a nice snipe gonna land. Wei is now legendary. He's winning the race. And Decoy, I am sorry, buddy, but at least Gala picks that one up, traded around. Praedyth tries to get away from Cryin. And hey, at least Nocturne's kind of low, but it's not gonna matter.
Oh, look at that. Praedyth gets to throw up the emote as well. He's out of there. Survives to fight another day. The rest of the team, though, dying up on the top side of the map.
Rocket jump in. Oh my. Okay, yep. Nice job, Cryin. I like that one. Jumps forward with the stride breaker. Auto Q, and it's dead yet again. 24-4.
That was actually so clean with the stride breaker flash from Cryin, instantly going for the engage, not letting Tristana even think about answering there with an all-in of his own. And it's another stylish kill for the RNG team. Freak, they really, really did not like the taste of losing earlier in the day, and they're getting out some of their frustrations here, unfortunately for PGG.
All right. Well, let's see how many they can go for. We're going to see how fast they can win. We're going to see how many kills they can grab, pad the stats, make it look, you know, just even more incredible. You know, maybe set some records here. Maybe it's possible.
They've got a quest, Freak. It's the two big bounties, Wei and Gala. Can they get one of these carries?
They might get one of the quests, but I think they're still going to lose the raid here. That's going to be just instant death there. Gala legendary as well. Dives the back line, forces the rocket belt out from Pabu. And okay, Jace gone as well. 2 more kills for Gala. Cryin gets a locket, gets to walk up, and here comes the Herald. Can they win the entire game on this siege? They're obviously more powerful. The question is, how much damage will Shelly take in these charges?
Yeah, literally any player on PGG gets 2-shot. They can't kill the inhibitor in time, so Shelly taking too much damage. There's no way she gets to finish this and dance the game off. But RNG are looking to finish it.
They're going to go for the game winner. Nice anchor. Great equalizer. Means a lot of damage. Decoy forced to run away. Shelly at 4 HP. No! The minions stronger than anything PGG could have put up in this game. Nexus laid bare. 18 minutes in. The last dive comes across. Decoy tries away. Gets kill number 9. Ties up with Gala. Now Gala takes it back over at 10. And number 11, Gala is going to be the kill leader of this game. And 18-25, the Nexus will drop.
Woo-wee! That was a spanking.
Yeah.
RNG, they want to get out of today, finish up game number 2 as quickly as possible. Valiant effort there from BGG. Like the attempt, Kali Pig coming in, getting the kill at level 4, but instantly you saw the response from RNG. Every member of this team taking matters into their own hands, getting their own kills.
Yep. Except, I think Xiaohu got maybe one. He stole it under the turret with his ulti. Otherwise, he just got to sit there on an island, just like laning against Jace, and okay, everyone's dying. I mean, I'll take the win, but this one's really not about me.
Top diff, Freak, okay? That is a top diff every single time. Honestly, though, really nice to see RNG get right back up on this horse. They were correctly outplayed in the first game of the day by PGG. So much action forced early, and PSG, they were able to get so many victories in a lot of these skirmishes, and then here RNG saying, we're not going to let it happen again. Immediately going for all these 2v2s. Jungle invade, playing off of mid lane Nocturne, able to follow up on that invade, and snowballing so incredibly effectively.
Yep, really well played, RNG. So the top team in the group, we'll see how much longer they hold on to number 1. Maybe the entire run through. Now every second counts, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, Cryan hits level 6 just in time to pull off a daring tower dive.
All right, let's take another look at this one. Every second does count. As we were talking about, pushes the minion wave in, ultimate, and the tower shot, just barely not enough damage. Vision still denied by his own ultimate, and Wei with the perfect positioning there.
Yeah, really, really nicely done. So after the break, we'll look ahead toward Cloud9 versus Damwon Kia, a pivotal matchup, in the race for semifinals. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Cloud9 earlier today secured their first win of the Rumble stage, but the road towards the semi-final has only just started, and they are fighting to catch up with PSG Talon as well as the Mad Lions. Now, you will see the standings in a moment or two, and what's important to remember is that Cloud9 are currently 2 wins behind that of PSG as well as the Mad Lions. But crucially, PSG Talon and Mad Lions will play in game number 6, meaning one team will obviously be 1 win closer to Cloud9. And for Cloud9, they're hoping to do what they have already done once before, and that is take down Damwon. Now, it happened during the group stage. They went 1-1 with Damwon. How did that play out, and what level of confidence do you have they'll be able to repeat it?
The thing is with that game, you have to look at it and you have to think like, well, Cloud9 were kind of winning that game up until Damwon started winning fights, even though they shouldn't, because Fudge was getting solo kills. The Jace was practically out of the game, caught on the Jace. And then it all came down to one clutch factor from Vulcan to bring them back into it, because if you actually watch the game entirely, Cloud9 gets slower leads in the solo lanes in individual advantages, but then they kind of lost it. They flopped it when Damwon rushed the Baron when they all went towards the bot side of the map. And because their releasing was so strong, I think they should have been able to clean this one out pretty handily, but they dropped the ball, Damwon got Baron, and from there they had to clutch it out, and it was the clutch factor from Vulcan that won them the game.
Yeah, this was huge. Like, ultimately, the Cloud9 squad taking these teamfight wins, being confident in taking these kills on side lanes like you mentioned, that's the C9 that you want to be able to see. But this is not the Damwon that we'll see going forward. Khan being on Jace on side lane is not something that we're seeing throughout the tournament. They're much more centric towards team fights. We're going to be seeing them on Scions primarily. So I think Damwon is definitely leveled up. It's going to be on Cloud9 to really match the moment and match Damwon's energy.
I mean, they'll have to. Earlier today, it was actually Cloud9 that ran the Jace on the side lane with the Zoe, with the Senna. They had that range composition. I believe I do have the standings ready, so we looked back. That was how Cloud9 took down Damwon during the group stage. Now we move into the second round robin. You can see Cloud9 1-4, looking down the barrel of Mad and PSG Talon as well as Damwon Kia.
Yeah, look at the standings. If Cloud9 lose this game to Damwon and sit at 1-5, Mad or PSG are going to pick up a win, which means they're 2 wins behind Mad or PSG no matter what. There's 5 games left. If they sit at 1-5, then there's 4 games left for Cloud9 actually. Correct. In fact, against RNG, Mad Lions, PSG, and 1 more versus Pentanet. So arguably they should get 2 wins, but they have to beat PSG PSG and Mad if they lose to Damwon.
Okay, now, Damwon, in their wins, I have some interesting stats for you because when I was looking at some of the games, I had this feeling and this gut instinct that Damwon Kia, they're not necessarily the most dominant, as actually we can see Showmaker looking at the standings.
He's looking at the standings like we should probably
He's doing the math that we are trying to do. Raz, I'm going to put you in a little bit of an unenviable position here. When we look at some of the stats of Damwon, plus 1,700 gold at 15, 2.1 average KDA, 80% first tower. I was surprised at how positive those stats look when I think about the Damwon games, and I can see the nerves on your face. How do Damwon win, and what do Cloud9 have to do to prevent that from happening?
A lot of Damwon's wins, I feel like, are, like we saw earlier today, are just better presence on the map, being able to play. Like, for instance, when they have push on mid lane, they do really well, especially at playing around Khan, being able to invade, get vision at lane.
I think the interesting thing was the interview from Vulcan where he said, well, why are you guys playing so many different comps? And he's like, well, nothing's working, so we just keep trying everything. And I think there's two things that have worked for them. I think Raz hit the nail on the head there. It's bot lane. Bot lane's working for them fantastically. Now, the opposite side of the end is top lane, which you could also play to, where Fudge on the Lee Sin has looked fantastic. Even on the things like the set, he looks pretty good. So you can put your resources top, like Blabber did in that game against Damwon, and get Khan behind, essentially, right? I think the safer option is to go towards bot lane, maybe put Fudge on the weak side. And that's not to say that Fudge is going to struggle in that lane. It's more so Cloud9's playstyle, because they like to play bot side, they like to get Drakes rolling, and they normally drop the first Herald in the game and let it go to the enemy team, and that normally goes to the top side, and Fudge is the weak side point. I think that's just the best way Cloud9 function, because it relieves perks, it gets your bot lane ahead, and from there it just makes it easier to play the game. But that's not to say that putting Fudge on a carry wouldn't also be a good way to find a win.
It's so difficult because you've got two different plans of attack here, right? Raz saying maybe you prioritize your strengths. Kajol, you're looking at the opposite. If there are so many things, and we've already heard it from Fudge, just throw whatever shit you can against the wall and see what sticks, right? Because that seems to
Do you know what sticks, Trevor? Do you know what sticks? Perks. Perks on agency champion sticks. Put him on a Lucian, put him on a Yone, put him on a Tristana, something that can impact the map on, and it doesn't matter which side you're playing to as long as your mid laner's unlocked.
Okay, I'm hearing we've got about 2 minutes left before we need to move to our casters. Raz, I believe we do have a Damwon versus Mad Lions team fight that you wanted to talk through before I get to predictions.
I mean, yes. Like, for me, it kind of echoed what I said previously, which was, like, the setup around this was primarily, like, what they've had, the control that they had in the blue side jungle. I remember casting way back to this. The way that they got Baron to begin with was because, like, they caught Carzzy on the top side and they had control of the top side map. So, going back to the point, what makes Damwon great is when they are in a bad position, being able to recognize, okay, we have push mid, that means we have a window to get bot side control, we can place down a control ward, we can dip into it, force them to come towards us. That was a really perfect position for Damwon, and I want to see that more often from Damwon. When they have leads, of course, but especially when they have a deficit, to know what they're good at.
Okay, Raz, as it is Cloud9 versus Damwon, I'm going to put you in a very difficult situation. Give me a prediction of who will win this game and what the key to victory will be for who you are predicting.
Well, you know, I think Damwon's going to win. And it's going to be Showmaker and Canyon. It's what,
Traitor.
You know, the bread and butter. Look, facts are facts are at the end of the day are looking pretty damn good for Damwon and looking sad for North America.
I think if Cloud9 want to win this, they need to first pick an AP jungler and 2-3 solo lanes, which are ADs. Things like Tristana, Lee Sin, something like this. They need to get their hands on power picks for the top side of the map. But even if they get that, I think Damwon's going to win. So I'm going to predict Damwon to win this game.
And then, okay, so what's the key to victory then for Damwon to win? Prevent key picks going to perks. I'm trying to reverse engineer
I don't even think draft is going to be an issue, to be honest. I think Damwon just have better early games, better mid games, better late games. I think Cloud9 need a clutch factor. You have perks. Vulcan's already done it. You have a lot of clutch players on your team. I think that's the only way that they can actually win this game.
You're going to clutch it. So there we go. There's hope. There's anticipation here from my analysts, but ultimately they think Damwon are doing. This is a pivotal matchup in the race up for the semi-finals. Be sure to tune in when we return for PSG versus Mad Lions in a few moments. That's not the right toss. Damwon versus Cloud9.
Damwon versus Cloud9.
Time for a rematch in our Rumble stage. Cloud9, they are still looking for their first win.
Devastating victory for Cloud9 because it looked like it was their game to lose. They had their eyes on the Baron though.
Oh, mixed on. Scan of the week, Vulcan down. Damwon Kia have snatched a victory here versus Cloud9.
Welcome back, everyone, to MSI 2021. The Korean champions of Damwon Kia are up against the North American hopefuls of
It's
Cloud9.
Kame, I'm the Andy Carey.
Yeah, great. Regardless, though it is not mathematically true, Cloud9 are almost in a do-or-die situation. They are running out of daylight, and a win against Damwon here, the defending world champions, would do a lot to increase their odds of making it into the top 4. And LCS fans, I got some hopium for you, because last time Kobe and I cast together was the day Cloud9 went 3-0. They can't 3-0 today, but they could 2-0.
And I'm going to bring it right back down to earth, because the last time that Cloud9 played Damwon, and I like that the analyst desk was talking about the bottom lane, because that's exactly what Cloud9 did. They played around the bottom lane. Blabber, multiple ganks down towards the bottom lane. Slen and Vulcan have been playing incredibly well, and they rewarded Cloud9 for the bottom lane focus. They actually got early advantage in this game off of the Ashe Lulu, and Cloud9 also invested more resources in trying to track Canyon with the Hawk shot from Ashe, and so they were able to control these early stages of the game. The downfall of Cloud9 and the success of Damwon came from 2 separate mistakes from the sole frontliner on Cloud9, which was Blabber's Udyr. And everyone's going to focus on the first mistake, which was the Udyr positioning in the river, bear slapping Leona right next to the entire rest of the team and getting focused down. Or actually, that's even a completely different game. All the Cloud9 mistakes are just melding into one. I'm freaking my brain.
Yep.
Let's get to the champion select for this one, though, because Damwon and Cloud9 both today have successfully used Senna Tom Kench bottom lanes. If there is going to be a focus towards these bottom lanes, I do think that that is something you're going to have to remove, because they've both successfully used it already.
True, although I do think Cloud9 do have a really good answer to Senna Tom Kench. I really, really liked the Ashe Lulu lane. I thought it was very powerful. I think it was really successful in holding the 2-on-2 down and keeping the Senna stacks low. Only problem was they got outscaled because of frontline difference, and that Karma top could have been different. But ultimately, look, these two teams in all 3 games they have played, all 3 of them, have been very, very close. This is game number 4 between these squads. We may well even see them play a best of 5 in semis if Cloud9 can continue to step up. We'll see if that happens. They beat Pentanet today. We'll see if they can get another close game against Damwon, maybe a win, and that can be their road forward. Meanwhile, we're just waiting for Champ Select to start. Should be very soon. And I'm curious what the draft's going to be, what the priority is for both these teams, and where they kind of head into the Rift.
And I think that Damwon will probably continue with their style of con on, tank on top side, have a very strong possible 5-on-5 setup heading towards that mid game, heading towards that late game, because they're so confident in that versus Cloud9. Already, they were able to overcome an early Cloud9 advantage and still come back with the victory. Meanwhile, for Cloud9, this is the one where they've been trying so many different strategies. I think there's more variance here, so I'm super excited to see what they try and crock Damwon with this time around. The Varus has been a very popular ban for the bottom side of the map. We just saw it effectively used by RNG. The laning power, in addition to the CC that you can bring to your team, has just been overwhelmingly effective. And there's that Senna that we're looking for. Meanwhile, on Damwon, they take out both the Tom Kench and the Thresh. So both of the safety, main safety bottom lane support play champions. And this is going to mean the bottom lane will probably be chock full of aggression, of engaged champions, especially if Kai'Sa's locked in. You expect a Nautilus or a Leona to be paired right alongside her.
But Renekton getting locked in is certainly rather interesting. One of the big things I will say again about Rumble Jungle is you need an attack damage mid laner almost always with the composition. And Showmaker doesn't play a ton of AD mids. Renekton would be one of the more meta ones out there. Again, Renekton could obviously flex mid, but also Renekton's been banned so much in this tournament. 36 bans. The most banned champion of MSI 2021 is left up, and Fudge instantly grabs it.
Yep, going to be a very pivotal flex pick for them here. This has been a strategy versus Cloud9. Most teams are trying to deny Blabber the Udyr because it is the simplest of these super strong junglers at the moment. Instant lock in here on Morgana. I definitely favor this for Cloud9 way more than the Rumble pick because it allows Blabber to focus just on the clear speed early, and then his teammates setting up CC for the binding. 1.2, the frequency of Renekton being banned out is the point and click CC for either solo lane. If a Morgana comes, Renekton can set that up. Very similar to a Nidalee Renekton style. The binding is slower traveling, but once you have set up for it and you can guarantee it landing, the CC is so long you can come up with those kills. Meanwhile, Damwon really want to go with that, kill bottom lane we were looking for, with the Nautilus following up that Kai'Sa, and plenty of engage for them. They have the possibilities of going very hard on dive. I have really liked Morgana being paired with things like the Zoe for the mid lane, because it lends even more threat to either of the skill shots landing, as well as dealing with one of the strongest components that people will draft against Zoe, against long-range poke, in that the Black Shield can deny stuff like Nautilus ultimate engage, and you can actually force your opponents to eat more skill shots by virtue of the spell immunity and trying to deny some of these engage options.
Yes, indeed. Syndra ban, that is near mandatory. As soon as you have the Lucian ban, you need to get rid of Trist mid's hardest counter in the meta. Very important ban there. You do not have lane agency when Skyler the Weak just completely crushes the rocket jump, so good job there. Also, a quick note on the metagame overall MSI. Udyr has overtaken Rumble in priority overall. It's not just Cloud9, but most teams now at MSI would rather take or ban the Udyr than the Rumble. That champ's been leaving a few more champs like them before. I believe Morgana has passed him in priority as well. But yes, Gangplank now the answer up in the top side. We know that's going to be the lane answer here. Vulcan looking at Alistar down to the bottom lane, leaving Trist to flex until the very end, but they got to pick both champions here.
This is a very interesting pick here with the Gangplank. And I think it's a very confident pick from Damwon, from Khan, because this can pivot on how you play the early game. You want Gangplank versus Renekton to make use of literally your level 1 aggression with Trial by Fire, trying to force Renekton off that minion wave and play aggressively so you can actually push it back and not set yourself up for those dives. Very similar to like the Renekton Nidalee. Morgana can as well come through. It doesn't have as much sticking power there, but it is fairly dangerous as well. And I think Khan will play it super aggressively, for the early stages, so that Fudge doesn't get that extra wave stacked up and start to build that possibility for Cloud9. That being said, bottom lane aggression is matched. These are the ones that we love, Freak. It is Tristana Alistar now into the Kai'Sa Nautilus, and definitely another follow-up possibility there.
So in general, I actually favor Sven and Vulcan's lane quite a bit. Essentially, if Barrel ever comes in, Vulcan just headbutts Ghost out, at least pre-6, just headbutts him out and says, cool, we'll just 2v1 the Nautilus. And Barrel's like, wait, I have no way out. This is going to be bad for me. And the fight's pretty doomed. So in most non-jungle intervention situations, I favor Sven and Vulcan in the 2-on-2. Worth noting, by the way, Orianna picked up at the end. They left the Trist as a flex, said, all right, you know what? I don't really want to play Tristan to Victor, so we'll put that down to the bottom lane, make sure Sven's going to feel safe with, a rocket jump out. Timing can be awkward, don't get me wrong. It can be really tough to rocket jump away from a Nautilus hook because it's a stun and then a slightly delayed knockback, which very, very shortens the amount of time you have to time rocket jump well to break the entire spell. It's really, really tough, so a lot of players are going to miss it. Orianna Victor is going to be a fairly non-interactive mid, but it means the analysts have talked about the fact they wanted to see perks on a playmaker, something with selfish agency. Lucian, Tristana, Yone, the ones being named specifically, not on those champions here.
And one thing I will call out too is the other thing that the Gangplank top does, in addition to putting this kind of pivot point and dependency on the early pressure up there, it also influences not only the bottom lane with the Gangplank ultimate, but can influence the mid lane here. A couple of the games at MSI already, Perkz has been punished for some positioning, caught out some early deaths. Even in their victory earlier today, died early on the Zoe because of getting hit with the Scatter the Weak into Morgana binding. Gangplank ultimate slow can help set those up for Damwon if they do actually try and make some early visits mid as well to get that mid push.
All right, well, we are on to the Rift. Cloud9 at 1-4. Several of these games were within reach or thrown away at about 2.5 minutes in. I personally feel like the performance has been slightly better than 1-4, although that is subjective, and maybe they deserve the record after all. But Damwon Kia, so many high hopes were on this team. They are at 4-1 now in this stage. They've only dropped a couple of games, or 3, I guess, to be specific. They've all been to teams that are quite good, honestly. But 4-1 right now, they could easily hold on to a first-place spot heading into the knockout stage. We'll see if they can keep that road going and make themselves go 9-1.
All right, first thing I want to focus on is the volatility of both bottom lane and top side. So then you always focus on where junglers are starting, both of them bottom quadrants with pulls to try and accelerate them as quickly as possible to get up to this Renekton Gangplank matchup that we're looking towards. You see Sven here hovering, waiting for Vulcan to make sure that even if Barrow and Ghost are in this tri-brush, they're actually in a position to try and fight them off and they don't get set into lane with an early health deficit, but the hook goes right around Vulcan.
Really nice anchor smash. It's a lot of damage onto Sven, and it's Summoner Heal burn very early on. Vulcan not quite tanking up the hook. Obviously, great aim by Beryl to make it happen. And already a rough start to the lane. Alistar not strong before level 2. Nice abuse of the cooldown difference as well. The hook comes up well before Pulverize, so that's another easy trade. And Cloud9 have to give away the fact that they're not getting level 2.
The first hook is really the key one there from Beryl. So close. Almost pixel perfect to get him around Vulcan's model, and yet still hit Sven there for the early trade. Yeah, Blabber is able to kite back, does also kill off the ward here. I believe he still was able to get.
I think Showaker got 2 of them.
2 of the small ones.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Top side, though, the other one we want to focus on, Fudge was able to get access to that minion wave and push in the Gangplank. So I think this is actually a very favorable start for him up on the top side. Morgana should be able to catch up to Udyr, but as of right now, Canyon should be able to actually get there first. Tri-brush ward early from Fudge, so he's definitely got the vision to see if Canyon just does the full clear into topside pressure. Khan right now can actually play off of that
got time to gank
deficit here. Yeah, you just walk away.
Yeah, it should be okay. The slice should still be up. Canyon can kind of camp this brush. That's, of course, you want to ward Tri-brush and not get ganked, but now you don't know if he's recalling or not. Great, Anchor Dust comes in. That's the death. Sven should die. His heal's already down. Lasting Ignite barely keeps him alive. And now it's time for the roam. Mid laners, top laners showing up. The bind on it. Nice smite comes in, but Fudge, be careful. Slice and dice away. Flashes preemptively. Canyon's on the chase. The Q is too early. Does not get the heal. And first blood for Canyon.
Top Scuttle Crab strikes again.
And now it's time for the roam. Mid laners, top laners showing up. The bind on it. Nice smite comes in, but Fudge, be careful. Slice and dice away. Flashes preemptively. Canyon's on the chase. The Q is too early. Does not get the heal. And first blood for Canyon.
Top Scuttle Crab strikes again. Cloud9 going for it, and this time it is Fudge.
The Q is too early. Does not get the heal. And first blood for Canyon.
Top Scuttle Crab strikes again. Cloud9 going for it, and this time it is Fudge who pays the price. They got the crab, but they lost the croc.
Oh no, that is not a good trade. We've seen these trades, and okay, at least Fudge gets himself a longsword, but obviously not a great thing. Khan shoves in the entire wave, has plenty stacked up. Fudge can't give that one away. It does mean 2 scuttles. That is obviously not. Oh no! Oh, he got it. No, the bind was there. Barrel. Whew, that was close.
Yeah, heat-seeking hook so far for Beryl. And actually, I really do like to see him step up for Damwon because Beryl has probably made the most individual mistakes for Damwon thus far at MSI. So with him being on fire in the bottom lane and creating a lot of